Right now, you're craving something. Maybe a burger, maybe something sweet, maybe both. Whatever it is, it's probably not a salad. You didn't really choose this. Your body made that decision before your mind even noticed. And here's what's fascinating. This craving you feel right now isn't a modern problem. It isn't caused by advertising or fast food chains. It goes far deeper than that. It goes all the way back to the beginning, to how we were made. So why does the body want exactly what's worse for it? Why do we reach for the burger instead of the salad every single time? The answer starts at the very start. In the book of Genesis, God placed man in a garden filled with every kind of fruit and plant. The text describes it simply: every tree that was pleasing to the eye and good for food. God designed the human body with specific appetites: hunger for sweetness, hunger for richness, hunger for salt. These were not mistakes. They were intentional. Think about what sweet things represent in the natural world: ripe fruit, honey, foods that provide fast, clean energy for an active body. God built into us a love of sweetness because sweetness pointed toward nourishment. It was a compass, a signal. This is good. This is safe. This will sustain you. The same is true for fat. God designed the body to seek calorie-dense food because the human body requires enormous energy to function, to work the land, to build, to care for a family. Fat is the body's most efficient fuel. Craving it was not weakness. It was wisdom built into the flesh. And salt, essential for the body to retain water, essential for the nervous system to function. God designed us to desire it precisely because we need it. The appetite was a gift, a guide toward what the body requires. This is important to understand. The desires themselves are not evil. God made them. They were good. But here's where the story changes. After the fall, something shifted in the human experience. The desires that were meant to guide us toward good things began pulling us in ways that were harder to control. The Apostle Paul describes this tension with extraordinary honesty in Romans chapter 7. The good that I want to do, I do not do. The evil I do not want to do, I keep doing. Paul wasn't talking about food specifically, but he was describing something every human being recognizes. The body's appetites pulling one direction, the spirit pulling another. This inner conflict didn't begin with modern junk food. It began at the fall and has been part of the human experience ever since. Look at the Israelites in the desert after the Exodus. God was providing manna daily, faithfully, supernaturally. But Numbers chapter 11 tells us they grew tired of it. They sat weeping at their tent doors. They remembered the fish they had eaten freely in Egypt, the cucumbers and melons and leeks and onions and garlic. They weren't starving. They were craving rich flavors, dense food, intense tastes. God's provision was sufficient. Their appetites wanted more. This tension is ancient. It is biblical. And it is deeply human. Now here is the turn. This is what makes everything we've discussed truly important. Jesus understood this tension better than anyone. At the very beginning of his ministry, after 40 days of fasting in the wilderness, the enemy came to him with a specific temptation. Not violence, not pride, food. If you are the Son of God, command these stones to become bread. Think about what that moment represents. Jesus was physically depleted. His body was screaming for nourishment. The temptation was to use divine power to satisfy a bodily craving outside of God's timing and provision, and Jesus refused. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of God. This was not a rejection of food. Food is good. God made it good. This was a declaration that the body's appetites must be governed by something higher than the appetites themselves. This is the principle that Christians across history have understood and practiced. Fasting is not punishment. It is training. It is the deliberate practice of telling the body that it does not rule, that the Spirit leads. The early church fathers wrote extensively about gluttony, not because food itself is sinful, but because unchecked appetite disorders the soul. When the body dictates everything, the Spirit follows nothing. Proverbs 25 warns simply, "Have you found honey? Eat only enough for you, lest you have your fill of it and vomit it. Even good things consumed without restraint become harmful." Wisdom has always known this. But now here's the challenge of our specific moment in history. For all of human history, finding rich and sweet food required real effort. You had to hunt. You had to gather. You had to labor. The effort itself created natural limits. The appetite and the effort were balanced. Then something changed. Very recently, about 150 years ago, industrial food processing arrived. And engineers discovered something they now call the bliss point, the precise combination of sugar, fat, and salt that produces the maximum pleasure response the human body is capable of feeling from food. They engineered it deliberately. Precisely, they did not design food to nourish. They designed food to be impossible to stop eating. God designed your appetite as a compass pointing toward what sustains life. What we are facing today is that compass being deliberately manipulated to point toward profit instead. A 2015 study in the journal Appetite confirmed that people rated high-calorie processed foods as more pleasurable before even tasting them. The engineering reaches the brain before the food reaches the mouth. Research from the University of Michigan found that combinations of fat and refined carbohydrates activated the same reward pathways in the brain as addictive substances. The same mechanisms, the same compulsion. This is not weakness of character. This is a good design being exploited. The gift God placed in you is being used against you. And this is where the Christian understanding offers something that no diet plan or willpower program can offer. You are not simply a body fighting biological impulses. You are a soul, temporarily housed in a body, in a world that is broken and that will sometimes use good things against you. The fruit of the Spirit includes self-control, not self-loathing, not guilt, not obsession, self-control. The quiet confidence that you are not ruled by appetite, that you can receive food as gift, enjoy it as gift, and stop when the gift has been received. So, the full picture now. At the beginning, God designed the human body with good appetites for good reasons. Sweetness, richness, salt were all guides toward sustaining life. After the fall, those appetites became harder to govern. The Israelites in the desert wept for cucumbers. Jesus himself faced temptation through hunger. Christians across 2,000 years have practiced fasting as the discipline of not letting the body lead. And now we live in a moment when the food around us has been engineered to exploit what God made good. Every time you reach for something that you know isn't nourishing, you are not simply failing a diet. You are living the tension that Paul described, that the Israelites lived, that every human being who has ever walked the earth has lived in some form. You are not broken. You are human, made in the image of God, carrying good desires in a broken world, and invited daily into the discipline of letting the Spirit lead what the body demands. That is one of the oldest struggles in human history, and you are not facing it alone. If that perspective changes something for you, there is a lot more where that came from.